Naga Munchetty remained at the helm of Saturday's edition of BBC Breakfast, but instead of presenting alongside her usual co-star Charlie State, she was joined by Chris Mason, one of the presenters of the BBC's Newscast podcast. This was brought to the attention of Professor Jason Leach, who was in the hot seat this morning and soon admitted he was a huge fan of Chris during his interview, leading Naga to jokingly hit out at the guest. This morning's lineup looked a little different to usual, with Chris stepping into Charlie's shoes. Later on in the program, the pair's attention reverted back to the ongoing coronavirus pandemic. Host Chris said, "The Scottish government is warning people against non-essential travel to the parts of England most affected by the new restrictions." Naga continued, "Now, the advice was issued as 30 new cases of coronavirus were confirmed in Scotland, and that's led the First Minister to warn she would be prepared to take stronger action on restrictions at the border with England if required." Naga went on to introduce guest Professor Jason Leach, the National Clinical Director for Scotland. The host asked the show's guest how he was doing, to which he responded, "I'm doing well. I'm a little starstruck this morning. You can tell Mr. Mason I was listening to Brexitcast for 18 months when I was running every day," explained Professor Leach. Pleased with the praise he had received, Chris responded, "I am blushing. Thank you." However, his co-star became jokingly annoyed at the prospect of being left out of proceedings, asking, "Hello, what am I then?" After a slightly awkward silence, the guest noted, "I speak to you, Naga, more often. He's just new." Naga asked, "Would you like Chris to do the interview?" However, Professor Leach declined the offer, responding, "Certainly not. Okay, fine. Shall we carry on? I'm only teasing." The host added, "The 1st of August was the day where further easing of restrictions across England were due, but due to new current local lockdown rules, this has been delayed for a further 2 weeks. The picture remains different across the UK, and now Scotland's First Minister Nicola Sturgeon has issued new guidelines to those north of the border." Naga asked, "Let's talk about how this is going to work between Scotland and England. We've had this cautious look ahead from Nicola Sturgeon for how it may work for those travelling across the border either way. What's your interpretation of this and the reason behind this?" probed the host. Professor Leach said, "I was with the First Minister at the briefing yesterday when we, the advisors, together told the country that we had suggested there was a high enough risk now in this part of North West England that we had advised the politicians, the decision makers, to make some changes. If you go back 3 or 4 weeks, we did almost exactly the same around Dumfries, a Scottish district, where we were worried about an outbreak. It's not a country thing, it's a risk thing," he explained.